Alright, so we're actually going for a decent length in terms of minigame tournaments. Now let's move on to the fifth and the final bonus games mode, and that is Bowser Challenge. Play Bowser minigames, aim for the high score list. And unlike in any other modes in bonus games departments, this mode only requires a Wii U gamepad. Since after all we're going to be playing as Bowser for the majority of this mode, this means about the fact that we must able to, well, overcome our Demon Lord or something like that, so... And as far as Bowser Challenge is concerned, it plays out pretty similar to the past Mario Party games in terms of, not only in terms of Decathlon, and also Test for the Best in Mario Party 8, and also same applies for Time Attack in both Mario Party 9 and Island Tour. Basically, you're gonna come across into 10 mini-games, except unlike in the forms of the past few games, with Decathlon and everything, that usually takes place in sometimes 4 players and stuff like that, likely for free-for-all mini-games and stuff like that, but rather we can able to play through Bowser mini-games instead. And as you can tell, we're going to be going through all 10 of those once again, except now that the biggest rule for this particular mode this time is the fact that whoever gets more knockouts, or in this case we can able to collect some hearts, until whenever we get ourselves on top of the leaderboard in terms of the forms of, well, just the actual high score list. So in this case, the first minigame is obviously Bowser's Bogus Bingo. In fact, these are going to be the final time we're going to be playing for those Bowser minigames, because I'm sure enough, we've already played those for quite long enough as it is. Especially notable how the fact that we at least managed to showcase off every single Bowser minigames has to offer. Mind you, there are a few exceptions noticing, such as in Team Mario's case, that unfortunately we didn't get a chance to able to play Bowser's Clawful Climb in terms of Team Mario. So we were like, oh well, no big deal, because you guys already know about the actual minigames themselves, obviously, so either way though, there's not much else to discuss on that. So either way though, yeah, that's what we can say about this for the most part here. So anyways though, today's day is the forms of, according to this day, uploading schedules worth noting for. Today's day is of course the 14th of June today, in this case in 2020, even though it's sadly to tell you for this point is the fact that there's not much else we can speak of, apart from the fact that we're actually getting, you know, pretty close towards the end of Mario Party 10 as far as the actual Let's Play so far, before we move on to the actual, going back to the past in the Mario Party Let's Plays all over again, like Mario Party 1 all the way up to 8, but we'll see what happens there whenever we discuss more onto those specific stuff during a future year's time. So either way though, gone to a rough start, only 8 hearts, but at least we managed to able to knock down one player, which I felt sorry for, which is Toadette. So basically what happens is the fact that if you somehow achieved a knockout, you're able to actually get yourselves 3 bonus hearts. So even then though, you see why until whenever we get into the very end of this particular mode like this. So, and also as a result, as you can see on screen, that Toadette has now been replaced by Yoshi as a different player. So yeah, it always happens every time when if you knock out someone else, and then most of these players will be replaced. So even then, we will try our best if we're able to actually go for the highest score as possible, but even then, I'm not exactly sure how many the highest amount of rankings you can get. So even then, we'll point it out whenever we get into the very end of that specific segment, notice. So since we actually knocked out both Luigi and Spike, so this means until we move on to the next minigame, it will be replaced by someone else. So in this case, we got 28 so far, and we've got 3 knockouts so far. And the next minigame we are playing through is Bowser's High Dive. And unfortunately, much like in minigame tournament mode, it does seem to have a longer lengthy load times as well. So it can be pretty amusing whenever you're trying to able to get things started. But either way though, that's just a little bit too nitpicking at this rate. Especially noticeable that, you know, just like in Sonic 06, it does have a ridiculous amount of loading screens, you know. Yeah, I was faulting myself the same thing as well. I think relatively speaking is the fact that every single player in Team Mario always starts off with 6 HP, so even then I just want to point that out right away. Yeah, because of that though, that, you know, it always seems to able to go 6 HP whenever we move on to the next minigame. Let's switch Waluigi in case if we're about to get the next few of the knockout points. So in this case, we actually got 4 knockouts at the moment, so even though so far so good. Even though whenever we first time playing this mode, even though despite the fact that we no longer have our original Let's Play of this game, we actually got a little bit okay. I mean, not the best run through we've ever done, but let's just hope in Journey Forms of this year we're able to actually expecting to get ourselves a much more better run. So, but God knows what might happen. We'll see what happens there. Alright, next is Bowser's Roulette Rage. So in this case, Waluigi is now being replaced by Donkey Kong. So yeah, everything else should be, like, self-explanatory for the most part. But then again, there's not much else to say apart from the fact that we're actually having some chill-out moments today. Apart from the fact that despite with the, you know, 2020 is going to be a pretty bad year as it is. But, hey, at least on the upside though, Sonic, is the fact that we actually got ourselves a nice little swimming pool that we can able to just have a swim on. Oh yeah, that's right, into whenever we decide to chill out every now and then, in case if our room is gonna get a little bit more hotter, so even then though that's a good thing we actually just got that, I suppose. Alright, so we knocked down Daisy of all things. It's kind of surprising how the fact that Rosalina didn't manage to survive most of the minigames so far. But not for long though, until whenever we get onto certain minigames as far as I know. But at least on the upside as well, that we also knock out Donkey Kong as well. But yeah, you get the idea for that solution, Piglet. You get the solution. Alright, so I'm presuming we're now in the halfway point in terms of Bowser Challenge already. Well, in this case, the 5th minigame we're about to be playing through. And which one would it be? Bowser's Wicked Wheel, I'm presuming? Yeah, as far as I'm noticing that already because of that familiar image, so... And now that Donkey Kong and Daisy are now being replaced by, I would say Mario and Peach. So yeah, standard stuff though, really. Alright, let's go ahead and just... I'm probably not going to use my stylus for this, because otherwise it'll cause a lot of scratches on our Wii U gamepad, so instead we'll just use a finger, so... Even though it might cause a lot of fingerprints and stuff, so either way though, I'm thinking, seemingly to say, we didn't take that much damage, apart from Yoshi gets like, 3 hearts left and stuff like that, and I've taken down 2 hearts between Mario and Peach, but oh well, bigger cells can't be choosers I suppose, but still. Alright, so we're now definitely on the halfway point in terms of Bowser Challenge, and we got 64 hearts, not to be confused as the exact same number as the latest Nintendo 64 console, that the one that usually releases the first ever Mario Party game that's ever made. Yeah, I'm assuming so anyway. Alright, so next up is Bowser's Sinister Slots, so let's see if we can hopefully try to knock out someone. Even though it won't be possible until whenever we get on to probably the easiest minigame to able to knock out everyone. But either way though, sometimes we just keep on pressing these buttons way too faster than we expected. Even though, I swear to God, we can never get all 3 of the same slots all in one go, despite that we just keep on pressing these buttons too fast. But I'm good short here because of how the fact that, well, we just can't help it for ourselves to make it a little bit more faster and stuff, not just like, just trying to slow things down. But regardless, that Rosalina just managed to finally got knocked out after 5 minigames later, then she's now down and she will be replaced by someone else. Alright, so the next minigame, it will be, obviously, well, as soon as the actual image will show up, Bowser's Bad Breath. I don't know about this one, though, just because we might able to actually get our chances to miss a lot for the sake of the forms of those fire bad breaths. In this case, Wario's now in charge, for that for the sake of time. Oh look, it's the exact same roster as you remember from how to play videos in between Mario Party, I would say Mario Party 4, and I would say 3, I'm assuming, and 5 and 7 as well. But then again, we haven't exactly played those games for quite a while, just because, well, you know, busy playing on Nintendo Switch recently, because we just feel like chilling out when it comes to that as well. Especially noticeable how the fact that, well, you know how the fact that Duffy is going to be taking a break on, although he will be still taking a break on, you know, Team Sonic Racing recently, until when he gets back onto it at some point, I would say in November time perhaps, if only depending on the actual Let's Plays, how long will it goes. So, alright, so next minigame is obviously Bowser's Paintball, so we can expect we can able to get more hearts from there, even though it's all depending on luck really, because of the actual bumpers and everything, so either way though, we could expect this much. If only if it could have Luigi on here, replacing by Yoshi and stuff like that, well, Yoshi will be replaced by Luigi, then that'll be exactly the same character roster as in the forms of E3 2014. Well, at least as far as I'm noticing that already, so at least as far as I remember back in the day. Yeah, whenever when this game first announced and everything, even though despite the fact that, well, for whatever reason, back in 2014, we got super excited about it. Well, the only most exciting part out of them all though, it was definitely Bowser Party for sure. But as far as everything else though, we weren't exactly hyped when the car mechanic returned from the likes of Mario Party 9 that most people seem to despise the most. Anyways, let's move on to, oh yes, Bowser's Clawful Climb. Let's go ahead and just use my knees to able to actually stand up my Wii U gamepad upright, and I'll about to be doing a whole lot of button mashing. I mean, just watch, Piglet, just watch. 3, 2, 1, go! Just look at me go! And looks like you're about to catch up to them. Finish! Look at that. We have managed to able to dominate every single part in that minigame itself. So in this case, you knock out all 4 rivals, or in this case, all 4 players. So I think we're now moving on to the last minigame of this whole entire set, which will have to be by the forms of, what else? Bowser's Hammer Slammer. I think specifically, whenever you get onto the later portions of some minigames, that depending on what difficulty that the computer players can beat sometimes, that the 10th and the final minigame is always going to be, I would say a master mode or something, or very hard mode as far as I'm aware, but it's all likely for prediction's sake. Alright, let's begin. The final time playing a Bowser, or in this case, this is the final time playing as Bowser in this Let's Play. So because of that though, well, it's pretty sad, because even then I always have to move on to, well, the next couple of Let's Plays worth noting for. So anyways, let's go ahead and just keep on smashing between, well, the only time we keep on smashing is of course Spike, which I'm presuming that we actually got about 7 hearts, which, again, it seems it's not much, but hey, at least we'll take it, I suppose. Plus, since we actually knocked out 11 players, so I would say that we got about 33 hearts. Now, after what he's done for all 10 minigames in this run, Bowser Jr. will tell you the actual results, meaning that he'll tell you how many hearts you gathered, or how much hearts you've been collected, and also he'll tell us about the fact that if you get the knockout bonus, then you would able to get yourselves 3 hearts each time whenever you knock out some of the players. In this case, once you reach for this point, you get yourselves a rating system, which in this case we got 8 Bowser Jr. spots, meaning that we got ourselves the amazing rank. However though, if you manage to score more of those hearts, then as you can tell, we got ourselves a different from the one we used to back when you first time playing the game. That you start things off with just a stone throne, but the more you progress when it comes to collecting more hearts, then the more impressive your throne can be, which I think the highest one is actually the forms of a gold throne, so seems pretty cool. It's only just for cosmetic bragging rights or anything like that, so there's not much else to say. But I will say though, Bowser Challenge is by far the best highlight in terms of bonus games, but as far as everything else is concerned, Jewel Drop is good, but everything else is, well, meh, apart from Bowser Jr. challenges, easily the worst ones, so, because they scale it down significantly. So anyways, we'll meet you guys until next weekend for going back to Mario Party mode for free play to see unseen minigames, so see you guys next weekend.